One of my favorite things in this goddamn little life of mine is when I watch a movie and I instantly know, I'm like, that's a favorite of mine. That's one I'm going to be rewatching till I'm a stinky old man sitting in a chair somewhere thinking about the movies I watched. And that movie I watched this week was Ikiru by Kurosawa. And I'm woefully underwatched when it comes to Kurosawa. I've seen the big ones. I've seen Rashomon. I've seen Seven Samurai. But for some reason, I spent the last 2-3 weeks every night going to sleep like, I should watch Ikiru. I should watch Ikiru. And finally, I was like, okay, I'm watching it. And I just sat down, watched it like in the morning. Like, it's fun to start the day with a movie. That's something I don't give myself enough. Like, wake up in the morning, turn on a movie, and then get up after it and start your day. It's a nice way to start the day, especially with a movie this good. And if you don't know what this movie is, it's from the 50s. It's a black and white movie by Kurosawa about an old man who works at like the local governing office, and he's worked there for 30 years, and he finds out that he has cancer, and it makes him rethink his whole life and regret wasting all this time on meaningless bureaucracy and pretending to be busy. And ultimately, it's both a life-affirming movie, but also a really apt and timeless condemnation of the way we run our lives and the way we govern ourselves and the way we jerk people around. It has little to nothing good to say about the systems we have in place and the offices and the way they treat people and the way they make us treat people by making us numb to our own lives and numb to existence. But really, what really hit me with this movie is it's just a life-affirming movie despite all that harsh satire and criticism. It ultimately comes around, and I won't spoil it, but to a really beautiful message of reclaiming your life no matter how little time you have left, and doing creative, wonderful things with what you've got and in the ways you can do it. And I'm a sucker for when somebody who's kind of colder in their shell, especially an older person, is like having a good time suddenly. I think scenes like that are so fun, where like an old person is being run around by a young person and they're going dancing and they're doing this, just like where somebody's coming out of their shell. I'm just such a sucker for that. It makes me so emotional. And this movie has multiple sequences like that. But it also has a lot of really somber, sad sequences of regret and remorse and sitting with your life. And I think movies can do a number of things. They could entertain you. They could connect with you emotionally on a way that just speaks parallel to you. It's like a way that just talks what you already understand but puts it in new words. I think that's what movies do really well. It's like, here's this thing you already probably feel, or this thing you have felt, and here's a version of it that puts it poetically or puts it succinctly. And then there's another type of movie that I find is pretty rare, and it's a movie that will freaking wake you up. It's a movie that wakes you up to your life, to your existence. I remember kind of feeling that way with My Dinner with Andre. Just like some of the conversations in that movie when I watched it, I'm like, man, I should really change my life. It was a movie that, like, sitting with it afterwards, I had to sit with my life. And I think that's such a hard thing to accomplish in a movie. And to be able to pull that off is so bold and so exciting that it still holds up 70 years later in the case of Ikiru. Like, this is a movie that, like, if you're doing anything menial and anything like that feels pointless or like it's going to be forgotten by time, it'll kind of make you sit with your life for better or worse because of how damning it is of how we use our time and how encouraging it is to use that time better and more meaningfully while you still can. And lately, I don't know how instrumental this was in me making this decision, but I recently turned on all the app limits on my phone because I heard in a Drew Gooden video, he mentioned a statistic that we're liable to spend 30 years on our phone with our current screen time limits. And I was like, oh my God, 30 years of my life are gonna be looking at this thing. And I think that combined with this movie, combined with some other factors, I was just like, I gotta stop just wasting this time. I'm like, I don't know what's a better way to use it. Just be creative, surround yourself with friends, just watch movies. I feel like if I just replace my hour of social media, if not more, every day with like a movie, my life would be so much more rich. So I really am gonna try. I've done this before and it's only so successful, and eventually I stumble back into being a bit of an addict when it comes to my phone. But I'm gonna try to commit and not use my phone as much, or if I am using it, use it for something productive. I think some of us are too critical of phones and the internet in this. It's like that is like a boomer mindset, I guess, of the, like, what are you doing on that thing, but I do think there's so much productive things we could do on our phone. There's a lot of learning we do, a lot of engaging, a lot of direct empathy we learn through our phone. Art is one of the most profound ways to empathize and hear stories that connect you to people and make you understand a broader breadth of the human experience. Perhaps a phone is doing the same on a micro level and a macro level. You're constantly being exposed to other people, and with a critical eye, even the fakest stuff on the internet will come across as empathy and understanding. You'll understand why people feel the need to fake their lives or make their lives look better than they are, because it all comes from a place of hurt or sadness. And I do think we learn a lot of empathy from our phones the same way we would from a book or a movie. I think we connect with people. I think we meet people, we see artists. Like most of my friends I wouldn't have without the internet. I connected with so many people. And the phone's a great device to get you around. GPS, sometimes when I think about getting rid of my smartphone, I'm like, I need the GPS. Like that's the one thing that stops me, because I'm like, I really need that, because it gets me everywhere. And I think it's one of those conveniences that I'm happy to have. I'm like, sometimes we make life too convenient and too easy through technology, but a GPS me all day. I'll do a GPS any goddamn day of the week. But in general, I just want to use my phone more purposely if I am using it, more purposefully. I think I've used it sort of hollowly historically, or at least most of the time. And I'm still guilty of it at night. I just scroll, look at something or other. But yeah, Ikiru kind of was instrumental in making me take a step back and realizing that these years are limited and they could end at any time. And I want to be in a place where I'm happy with how I spent them over being sad with how I spent them. However that means, however it is. Sometimes it's easier said than done. We're all in different positions in our lives too, so sometimes, it's hard to even break out of some of our routines and some of the monotony that we have to endure. But I strongly encourage you watch this movie. It's my favorite Kurosawa I saw. I feel like his other ones I saw were like really great stories, well told, but this one connected with me so deeply on an emotional and personal level, and that's what I really look for in art. Above all else, I just want to be emotionally spoken to. I want a movie to talk to the inside of me, not just the monkey brain that wants to see explosions, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's the end of my glowing recommendation. This is instantly probably in my top 50 movies, if not higher. I'll definitely revisit it down the line. I love a movie that I know I'm gonna watch again, and I'm excited to watch it again. There's only so many movies that I'm like, yes, I'm definitely gonna watch that again. And it's nice to have, because sometimes watching a new movie feels kind of daunting, and some days you just want to revisit one that connected with you in the past and revisit those feelings. So I look forward to doing that with Ikiru. I hope you check it out. It's on the Criterion channel, might be on HBO. HBO has a pretty good selection of like international movies. So yeah, thanks for watching. Love you guys. I love movies. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.